What is going on, everybody? Phoenix Gaming here. Thank you for stopping by. And today we're going to go over a build that I've been working on ever since we got the new skill, the Achilles Pulse. So when we first received this skill, it was a little cumbersome trying to figure out exactly how the skill actually works and how it can be beneficial to a solo player. Most of the time, you'll notice that there are a lot of people that play this game solo because they just can't get a group, or they can't get a viable team to play the game itself, so that they resort to being solo. Now, I'm not saying that the Achilles Pulse is built solely around for a solo player, but you can get away with using it in certain activities. Now, I don't recommend that you use the Achilles Pulse running the legendary strongholds, because you're not going to do enough damage, but you'll do enough damage in, say, like the summit on legendary, and you'll definitely be able to solo different heroic missions, different heroic control points as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the build itself. So with the build, right now we are currently running the Specialization Technician. Now we're running this because we'll get that +1 skill tier, and we'll go further into this and regarding just how well this will affect the Achilles Pulse when you get it back with the skill haste. For the primary weapon, we are running Mantis. Now with the Mantis, you have the ability, your scope views display additional information about enemies not targeting you. Headshot and weak point damage against enemies not targeting you is amplified by 50%. And then you got your headshot kills reset the cooldown of the decoy skill. This bonus will wait until the decoy goes on cooldown if currently active. So the Mantis is one of the better marksman rifles that you can use. It's exotic. It came out, I believe, in season 2 or season 3, but you can farm it for on the summit, or you can farm it whenever it is the marksman rifle in the open world. For the second weapon, the second primary, we're running it from Moss 2010 with fast hands, almost maxed out. Now, if you didn't want to run the Mantis, you could run Scalpel itself, and this just came out during season 4 with Future Perfection, and this will gain skill tiers for 19 seconds, and it'll stack up to 3 times. So right now we are currently running the Technician Specialization for the +1 skill tier, and then we also have a 2 tier that you'll see here momentarily on our build itself, so that you'll get that 6 and then you'll get that overcharge as well. But you could run the Scalpel if you really wanted to. The only unfortunate thing is you're not going to have the benefits of using the Mantis. So primarily I would use Mantis. You could also run the Nemesis as well, but with the Nemesis you have to hold down the trigger in order to gain that 100% damage. And if you're looking for something quick and viable and to the point, then I recommend that you just use the Mantis itself. So for the mask, we are running a filter mask, Honey U Corporation. This will give you the 10% skill haste. You get 1+ skill tier, 10% headshot damage rolled, 12% skill haste, and then 11.2% skill haste mod. The chest, we're running the Providence Defense Body Armor System, max 50%, 6% critical hit chance, 12% skill haste, 12% skill haste mod. Now, I would recommend that you remove the 6% critical hit chance and roll it for headshot damage, or try and farm for a body armor that does have that headshot damage, because what you want to do is try and stack as much headshot damage as possible, because the Achilles Pulse is revolving around headshot damage, and you'll see here why headshot damage is much more effective rather than running crit chance and crit damage. For this, you also want to make sure that you have the Headhunter talent on here. You could run the Providence Defense Body Armor, or you could definitely run Chain Killer to get that perfect Headhunter, but either one is going to be very beneficial to you because of the damage cap and the amount of headshot damage raised. For the holster, we're running the Artemis Fast Draw holster. This will give you 10% marksman rifle damage, along with 15% headshot damage if you're running 2-piece, 14.6% weapon damage. Again, if you don't have headshot damage on here, I recommend you re-roll one of your attributes to headshot damage, and then roll the other one to skill haste as well. Use your Fox's Spur knee pads because of that multiplicative damage to target out of cover, and then also find one that you can roll the attribute off for 12% skill haste. Again, we're running the second piece of Heraldic Holdings for the gloves, 50% weapon damage, 12% skill haste, and then 10% headshot damage. And then lastly, we are running the battery pack and Burst International. 10% skill health with the perfectly calculated kills recover, reduce skill cooldowns by 50%. Now you're going to want this because it does take a little bit of time to get that Achilles pulse back, but with the amount of skill haste that we do have on the character right now, you'll get it back very quickly, about a second and a half every time you do a kill from cover. So again, we are running the decoy. Now you can run the decoy with any weapon, that way none of the aggro is on you and it is on your decoy itself. But again, you will have to wait for the cooldown on here, and because of the tier 3, we get the 45% duration, 150% health, and then 45% threat. The cooldown of it is 11.7 seconds, but because it is usually perfectly calculated, you'll get that back almost instantaneously. You'll definitely get it back instantly when you use the mantis, but that is entirely up to you of how you want to run this. Now into the Achilles pulse. Target a single enemy with a pulse which identifies weaknesses, highlights them, and causes damage to those areas to take headshot damage. Useful for solo snipers or as a support skill, use repeat targets for your teammates. With this, we have 2 zones. Zone health of each is 569,388 HP. The zone duration is about 16 seconds, and then your cooldown is 13.8 seconds. Alright, so you're probably wondering, well, what does all this information mean? Well, for the zones, there's a total of, I believe, 5 zones on a single NPC. So when you start proccing your tiers and you get that overcharge, the full body is going to be highlighted. The arms, the head, and the legs are all going to be highlighted regarding with the zones. Now each zone has a specific health percentage. That health percentage is dictated by how much damage you are dealing to that zone health. So with every zone health, you're going to be doing a certain amount of damage to eliminate that zone itself. The zone duration is how long the highlighted body part is on the enemy, and then your cooldown is the cooldown for the Achilles pulse to come back. Now, as you can see, the skill haste on here is a big one, 30% skill haste. If you go into the stats for this, we're currently running 113.7% skill haste. So this is around 15 seconds. So it's almost half of what the actual skill haste is for the Achilles pulse if you're not running any single tiers. But using perfectly calculated and getting about a second and a half back while you're in cover, you'll definitely get the Achilles pulse back quicker and faster. That way you can use it by yourself more effectively or within your group. Alright, so now that we have the build out of the way, let's go more into a deep dive with the Achilles pulse and how everything is all calculated. So again, like I told you, the Achilles pulse is revolving around how much headshot percentage you're going to do. Again, we are running the technician specialization. You could run sharpshooter if you really wanted to, but again, you want to have that skill tier, that extra skill tier, in order to better be efficient with getting your pulse back if you plan on using it rapidly in succession while you're doing your missions or doing your control points. But beside the point, the way the Achilles pulse works is assume that the headshot damage, your raw headshot damage that you're doing, is going to be dealt to the body. But if you have a highlighted target with their head being one of the zones, then that is going to be tripled with the damage output. So you're almost going to want to still aim for the head regardless if it's highlighted or not. With the Achilles pulse, it can be very viable. It can be very detrimental to when you're running your build, and again, you just have to spec out your build the way you need to spec it in order to get the benefits from the Achilles pulse. And now, is this one of the better skills? It can be if you know how to use it, but again, it's going to be one of those, do you want to use it in place of a different skill or not? But as you can see from the gameplay footage above, you can see that I'm going back and forth between the builds, trying to understand how well the Achilles pulse and reacts to the different headshot damages and the different builds that I have. Well, that's the build in a nutshell. That is how the Achilles pulse works, and I really hope you guys take the time out and actually try and use this new skill that we received. It is very fun to use. I do kind of wish that they added, instead of the zones, maybe eliminating the amount of zones that you get and maybe having it proc to another NPC that was in the vicinity. I don't know. This is just my feeling. I think the Achilles pulse could have been a lot better but I do like the scenario in which, you know, it highlights your enemies, you're doing the headshot damage to those enemies. It kind of brings back that feeling of the first pulse from the Division, from the first game. But again, this is just headshot damage. It's not crit chance, not crit damage, nothing like that. But it is something different. It is something fun to use, something fun to try, and maybe it might suit your playstyle. It was definitely hard for me not to just kind of run and gun the whole summit thing with this build. Really had to take the initiative to sit down, you know, to stay in the cover and really focus in on what I was trying to do and how I was trying to, you know, use this build and make it viable. But again, guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. Definitely leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Let me know how it works for you, and then if you are new to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and make sure that this video gets out. Post it for anyone who you might think want it or needs it. So definitely share it, and I will catch you guys around in the next video. Take care.